It's doing great. I'm technically doing this twice because I fucked up the first time.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
In today's Vatnik Soup, I'll introduce a Malaysian conspiracy theorist, journalist, and social media addict, Ian Miles Cheong, still gray. He's best known for his online attention-seeking activities, for his anti-Ukraine stance, and for simping Elon Musk and other tech bros. 1 out of 24. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna give you the breakdown and lowdown. I'm gonna do it in a voice way because maybe you want to read it instead of having to, read it. But you can follow the tweet and the follow up here, and then I'll give my analysis. You know how I do. Ian's online history goes way back. During the 2010s, he was a moderator on Reddit, moderating some of its biggest subreddits. He was eventually banned for paid promotions he hadn't disclosed to the site. He was also working as a games journalist working for sites. Reddit moderator banned for selling his influence. As Solon Victus, Ian Miles Cheong's moderated some of Reddit's most popular sections. Now, I don't want to say this hits the nose. I don't want to make fun of somebody and be like, this hits the nose so perfectly. But it always be the Reddit mods, which reminds me of having to go back to this exact same complaint over and over and over again. We have somehow re-entered the discourse about being a fucking Redditor / mod.
Yo, I've been looking into the Seth the Programmer drama, whatever. I am hyper fixated on the fact that somebody ate doo-doo to become a Discord mod.
And here we have a provocateur that says the obvious provocateur shit and is still taken seriously. Like GamerRanks, The Guardian, and Ars Technica, when some of his older chat logs were leaked, he showed his edgelordy. I apologize. They showed his edgelordy behavior, where he praised one Adolf Hitler. He apologized but blamed everything on the toxic gaming community. He also swatted a fellow YouTube member. I remember the SWAT. However, I will say, remember, edgy humor borders on absurdity. Now, you might be saying, I don't remember that. That's probably because I haven't uploaded the video on the absurdity of online conversations. But hopefully, by the time you see this video, you'll have seen that one, which you should have. I guess I should, put it somewhere in the description. It's in the description down below. Go look at the video in the description down below. Then you could come back to this one because you understand that line. Get me some watch time, too, so I could get monetized. You know what I mean? When some of it... Oh, yeah, we did that already. Sometime later, he attacked his toxic community again. Sometime later, he attacked this toxic community again. In the fore of Gamergate. A cultural online debate revolving around games journalism. It seems that around 2015 and 2016, Ian made a shift from someone who strongly supports LGBT rights and condemns totalitarian regimes to someone who doesn't. He also started supporting Trump and his rather strong right-wing views. One thing you should know is that Mr. Cheong spends most of his time online and especially on Twitter. All this time spent online has made him an expert on military strategy. We all know what's coming. Zelensky's life isn't really at risk. That's why he's able to film these interviews. Of course, Russia knows where he is. They're counting on him to surrender so they can delegitimize him for negotiating with people he called war criminals. U.S. foreign policy, geopolitics, and basically every other topic out there. He also has a knack of figuring out the real truth on every topic. And based on Ian telling the truth matters. Because Cheong cares about the truth, we can trust everything he's tweeted. Telling the truth matters. Finnish girl boss PM Santa Marin is out. Her coalition came in third place after she introduced transgender self-ID laws and destroyed Finland's relationship with Russia to appease her fellow liberal partygoers. Sucks to suck, Santa. Maybe start an OnlyFans. Wow. But Ian wasn't always like this. Before 2018, he was quite anti-Russia and anti-Putin. He was calling Russia homophobic, blamed the Russians for killing his countrymen in the down shooting of MH17, doubting each and every election Russia held, and quite strongly condemned. Someone needs to tell Putin that homosexuality and pedophilia aren't the same thing. Oh, in 4K. if their new homosexuality is bad for kids law that just took effect. I will never not be astounded at the sheer stupidity of people in charge of making laws. It's Putin. Blame Putin. If the separatists who shot down that plane was supplied by Russia, what the fuck does no direct link to Russia exactly mean? If this, wow, we got you in 4K. The Russian invasion of Crimea. I mean, he even called Putin an asshole, but no one cared. He barely got any likes or retweets. Nobody gave a shit about his meaningless opinion. Only after he became a Trump-supporting edgelord who suddenly loves Russia, his engagement began to increase. It must have felt good to be at the top of the social media feed chain again. At the social media food chain again, feed chain would honestly be a better word for that one, being noticed, like he was previously a as a Reddit moderator. So he kept drifting towards the extreme, perhaps for that extra attention. Okay, now, if you watched my video on the absurdity of online conversations, then you know that I literally spent the longest of times explaining this. Naturally, he did the exact same thing with Syria. 2012, he strongly condemned al-Assad's plans to attack with chemical weapons. 10 years later, the whole thing was a false flag plan by the U.S. and the humanitarian aid group White Helmets. Assad is going to use chemical weapons in the 12. Some shit is going down in Syria right now. Assad's planning on using chemical weapons, and the U.S. is there to stop him. The very same State Department that helped to stage false flag incidents in Syria to justify American action against Assad and his Russian allies during Obama's time is now claiming Russia will stage false flag incidents in Ukraine. And when the Ukraine and when Russia documents the atrocities, they'll be dismissed as fake. This is sick. Instead, they'll just call Assad a war criminal because the White Helmets staged fake chemical attacks. Fun. Interesting how, like, you literally have people saying we should purge the internet to make space, and people trying to run away from their past like this. Very, very keen and astute observation there. When it comes to cheering for Russia and parroting their narratives, Cheong got them covered. In February 2022, he denied the chance of invasion, and on the first day of fighting, he stated that he wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a coup in Ukraine because, according to Ian, their main forces don't appear to be fighting back. Ukrainian Nazis, bioweapons labs in Ukraine. I still haven't forgotten the whole bioweapons shit. Crimea is Russia, NATO proxy war, Nord Stream, Ukraine banning churches, Bucha massacre was staged, Zelensky being a cokehead. They're all there. But he's come up with some new stuff. Like, for example, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, Zalut, I don't want to mispronounce that, Valery being dead. By Cheong's account, the counteroffensive that recaptured Kherson was a failure, and Bakhmut was a Russian master plan to put Ukrainians into a meat grinder. He also called Russia the underdog in the war. Not reading these, just leaving them up on the screen for evidence. You can pause and read them as you'd wish. He claimed that NATO is escalating the war, apparently by shooting Russian rockets into Ukrainian cities, and that EU and NATO should be dismantled as fascistic organizations. In the case of Nord Stream, he believes Cy Hirsch and Kim.com's whistleblower thread. Declaring that the sabotage was done by the U.S., he's criticized EU and NATO officials without naming any for calling Russians subhuman, and orcs, suggesting that they're resorting to racism. Gonna put those up on screen as well so you can pause and read. By Ian's words, Ukraine is not a democracy and it relentlessly attacks its churches, political parties, and imprisons journalists. There might be some kind of confusion here. Maybe he was actually talking about Russia instead of Ukraine. Doing it again. Watch, in my lifetime, I've never seen the United States of America in a more just war. Our purpose is to defend freedom and fight for democracy, and that's why we're supporting Ukraine every step of the way as they defend their country and their way of life. Ukraine is not a democracy, but okay. Ukraine, which bans opposition political parties, bans religion, imprisons journalists, and has a single-state media apparatus, is a democracy in contrast to Hungary, which does none of these things. Serious political commentary. Oh, boy. In March 2023, Ian was a guest of the Donbass Devushka podcast, spouting about American fascism, Zelensky's cocaine addiction, and praising the brave Soviet efforts during World War II. He hasn't commented on the expose of her actually being a Jersey girl with a fake accent. But I guess if Jersey Girl can support the Russian war effort and claim to be a poor girl from Lugansk, Malaysian can claim to be an expert on U.S. politics and act like they have a big impact on his day-to-day life in Kuala Lumpur. Send another $10 billion to Kiev. The party must go on. Someone might want to tell them that the murders in Bucha were conducted by the Boatman Boys, the Ukrainian terror group. They were the ones who took the videos and staged some of the bodies. Why are so many of the victims in Bucha wearing white armbands? This indicates that they're Russian supporters, FYI. These days, he's a staunch supporter of traditional values, and the days when he was defending LGBT plus rights are long gone. Every event that seemed to challenge his worldview, including QAnon, Allen shooting, Nick Fuentes, Kanye West, are a psyop. overthrowing the government of Ukraine in 2014, murdering Gaddafi, the crimes of the deep state. Reminder, the COVID-19 pandemic was a scandemic that being around the largest transfer of wealth from the middle class to the corporate establishment. It seems more people are coming to realize that Q was a psyop designed to lull conservatives into inaction while the left won victories left and right as conservatives stood back and trusted the plan. Kanye West couldn't even handle the tiniest bit of pushback on his anti-Semitism, storms out like a child, refusing to defend his position. Imagine him in a debate with DeSantis and Trump. Not happening. His campaign is a gimmick, a psyop intended to make conservatives look bad. Nick Fuentes is a psyop to disenfranchise the right by making them look like insane bigots. Don't know who needs to hear this, but Q is a psyop to lull conservatives into inaction. Q is a big old psyop to lull conservatives into doing nothing. Trust the plan, guys. Mr. Cheong's a big fan of billionaire tech bros, and he's often praising them for basically anything they tweet about. His big favorite is naturally Twitter owner Elon Musk, whose boots he has cleaned on many occasions. And it's not just one way, notice me, senpai. We got to support him more than ever. Is Twitter a right-wing social network and echo chamber? Far from it. Under Elon Musk's stewardship, Twitter has become a true marketplace of ideas. Fucking loser. Ass kissing from Ian, although there's a lot of that. Elon seems to actually listen to what Cheong has to say. On October 9, 2022, Ian tweeted to Elon Musk that it might be a good idea to take Starlink offline for the terminals used on the front line since it could lead to further escalation in the war. And this is exactly what Elon did do in February 2023 in order to avoid escalation. Now that Musk seems to be endorsing DeSantis by offering him a platform on Twitter, Ian has suddenly forgotten about Trump and started endorsing Ronnie. The DeSantis space with Elon Musk was a nice breath of fresh air from a politician. They're usually pretty scripted, but here was a guy laying out his plan based on a proven blueprint that already works in Florida. No bullshit promises he can't keep. Wow! So hold on. I need my sound effect. I wish I had my Stream Deck. But I don't have enough plugs for that right now. Unless somebody wants to subscribe to the channel or help tip in the description down below so that way you can help support the paradigm shift in making content and I can get a USB hub so I can plug more things in. Where is it?
So you chose dick riding.
Ian seemed to be excited about the Twitter Spaces chat that was held, even claiming that it was unscripted. To conclude, it seems to me that Ian Miles Cheong is a attention whore with a broken moral compass. Also, he lies a lot. Thanks for all the coffee. It seems that people really dislike Ian. Correction to tweet 324. I couldn't find any articles written by Ian for Ars Technica, and a person who has worked for the site for 20 years didn't have any recollection of this either, so apparently Cheong never wrote for them. No mention of him writing for Russia Today? Ian tried to have me killed in 2019 because I made a video exposing him. He swatted me and told the cops I have a gun and was crazy so they could kill me. He then bragged about it to a girl in a voice message. She sent it to me, and Keemstar exposed him. Thank you. You mentioned the swatting later in this thread. Loser! You suck!